Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Welcome to the She Builds Show. I am so excited to be on here. I don't have a guest today, and I thought I would just give you information that if you have a bathroom that you're disgusted with, that you hate, and you don't really have the money to hire a contractor, I want to go through a series of how you could project manage that project yourself. Now, if you have an extensive rot problem or major, structural issues, this doesn't apply. But if you just have a pretty cosmetic flip of a bathroom that you want to just update, I think that this would be really, really helpful. And I wanted to keep it to a bathroom because a bathroom can be pretty simple. And this also applies to you if you're just not really that handy, but you're organized, detailed, and you know the vision of what you want. So this is just going to be part one of a series I'm going to do on just being able to project manage your own bathroom remodel. And I would say it could either be a primary bath or a hall bath that you just the kids' bath that you're just done with. So the first thing you want to do is, if you have any skill in this, I suggest that you could easily do this yourself. There's so many cool apps. And the first step is to just measure the space. So you just take out a tape measure, write down all the walls and all the measurements, the ceiling heights, everything that you just basically want to redo. And then you can put it inside of an app. And then you can just make a floor plan of that little bathroom. There's all kinds of apps out there to do this. This is really easy. If you're like, no, I'm not good at measuring, I don't know how to do this, then I would say there are draftsmen and women out there who are not architects, but they draft, which means they draw for architects. And there's a lot of those people out there that do not cost as much as architects, and they're usually on an hourly basis, and you can have someone like that come out and draw for you. The purpose of this is to be able to get the layout correct and where you want everything. And also, if you do something a little bit more extensive than just redoing the cabinets and the tile, you are going to want to get a permit if you're moving any plumbing or electrical. And you'll need those plans to be able to submit. So after you have the floor plan drawn, the next thing you want to do is the fun part, which is the design. And in the design process, it's always really good to just get inspired. What do you want? What do you love? What colors, speak to you? And you can either do this by going on Pinterest and saving a project, within Pinterest, or you can just go to your local design store. I like to physically touch and see things. I get inspiration from Pinterest, but then when I go to the tile store or to the design store, I can see that vision in reality, and then I can start to put the pieces together. And a lot of people have this eye, but you need to be able to make sure everything cohesively goes together. So before you go to the design store, make a list of all the things that you're going to want to replace. So in a bathroom, it would be floor tile, wall tile, grout, edging for your tile, which is either Schluter or Jolly. Schluter is a metal piece that's much easier to install. Jolly is going to be basically a little strip of tile. It gives it a more custom look. So you're going to want to know what type of edging and grout colors you're going to be putting in the bathroom for both the floor tile and the wall tile. If you want a niche, a little inset inside of your bathroom, you're going to want a tile and, basically edging or trim around that niche. You're going to need a backsplash if you want to do a backsplash on your vanity. So these are all just tile pieces. A backsplash on your vanity that is tile, or you can always take the countertop up into the backsplash. So that's tile. Then you're going to want your paint colors, your cabinet colors, your countertop colors, your sink, and your plumbing fixtures. So your toilet, your faucet on your sink, your shower head. If you have a tub, you want all of those pieces. And so make a list of all the things you think you could possibly need. And then it goes into light fixtures, right? So do we want pendants hanging beautifully on either side of the sinks? Do we want, just one coming out of the wall? And then I always say, like, your finishes are your mirrors. And to me, these are like, once you have your outfit on, you put your earrings on. And those to me are your mirrors, your accessories. So your toilet paper holder, your towel bars, and the hardware on your cabinet. So those are like the finishing touches that you want. So make a list of all of those things and then go to the design store and get inspired. So the thing I like to get inspired the most about is either usually a countertop or a tile, because you can either go wild with that or you can go really clean and subdued and then bring in a little pop of color in the cabinet or in the floor. And so just go get inspired. And then you have to go through the list and you need to make sure like the main things go together. So once you have your tile and your countertop, then you need to pick out your cabinet and you need to actually physically see all of these things out in front of you. You can't just it's really hard to have a picture of them online. That's why every designer has a warehouse or room, a spare room in their house full of samples, because if you can't physically touch and feel it, you can't really see if the colors are going to match. And you want to make sure that your floor and your counters and your tile and your paint color, those main things all really mesh together well, and they aren't, clashing each other in any way. So you want to lay out all of those main pieces, and then you can add in the details like, is a honey brass going to look beautiful with with like a light white oak cabinet with a white countertop, and we're just going to do a white subway tile with a splash of turquoise in the niche, whatever it is. And then are you going to put, some beautiful brass finishes or nickel finishes or black finishes or bronze finishes on the cabinets? And usually I carry those through into the faucets, the hardware, the light fixtures, and the plumbing shower head. You can mix and match metals. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid to go out into the different metal world. There's also chrome. So come up with your design, get inspired, and then you have to make the final decisions on those things before you can move forward. So you need to know your tile. You need to know the list of everything that I just listed: your tile, your countertops, your cabinets, your sink, your faucets, your lighting, your paint colors, absolutely everything, down to the grout and the trim around your shower. You need to know absolutely everything before you even think about calling one person, because that's the first thing they're going to ask you. So after you've done that, you have your floor plan, you have it drawn out, you have your design. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to type up a scope of work. And what that is going to be entailed is scope of work per trade or scope of work per division of construction. And so you're going to take a Word document or your pen and paper, and you're going to type out for, let's just say you have somebody coming in for demo, and you're going to write demo at the top of that sheet, and you're going to go through everything that you want demoed and what you want to keep. So I want to keep the tub, demo the shower walls, demo this wall that, is dividing the toilet area. I want it removed, demo the cabinet, the counter, anything that's in there, the floor tile staying or the floor tile's not. So go through everything that's going to be demoed and write that on one piece of paper. And then once that's done, put that aside. And then the next phase is going to be framing. So in framing, is anything going to be reframed in your bathroom, in your new floor plan, in the way that you're laying it out? And on that one sheet of paper, you're going to put the framing details of the scope of work. I want this wall framed in. I want this soffit gone, so please remove the soffit. Anything that has to do with framing that you can see, write it down. And then after that is going to be, generally, I like to do HVAC next. So if any vents or heating and air vents are in the way in the bathroom that need to be moved, if the ceiling vent is going to be in the way of the light, or if the floor vent is now going to be in the way of the new floor plan, write down anything that has to do with HVAC and ducting. And then after that, you're going to go into your plumbing. So make a whole new sheet with your plumbing scope of work. And this goes from, I want you to think about it from rough, which means behind the walls, to finish. Are you moving the toilet? Are you raising the shower head? Is the tub being removed and it's becoming just a regular shower? Are you adding a sink? So that's everything behind the walls. So put a little subtitle of rough plumbing and do everything about where the behind the walls movement of plumbing could possibly be. And then you're going to go into finish. And so in finish, it's what are you going to install in terms of the finished plumbing fixtures? Obviously, you're going to install the toilet, the sink, the faucet on the vanity, the shower head, anything within the shower, the drain, all of that. So that's your finished stuff. And then because you have the details of what is going to be in there, you're going to write it in. Install this chrome faucet on the shower head. And then you're going to write out exactly what is going there so that there's no question as to, and even if you're super handy with the computer, take a little picture, a screenshot, a snip on the computer and put it in there that this is the faucet going on this vanity. Just the better and more clear you can be, the better your subs are going to be able to execute it for you without any question. And then you're going to go into electrical. So rough, same thing. Rough is behind the walls, finish is outside. So the first thing you're going to do is, where do you want your light switches? Where do you want your can lights? Where do you want your pendant lights? Where do you want plugs? If anything's moving behind the walls, then put it in the rough section. And then basically you're going to go into the finish after that. And you're going to say, we want 3 can lights. So put the finished can lights in. We want 2 pendants, and then put your pictures of those 2 pendants and where they're hanging, or the light fixture that's hanging on the wall. And those are the things that need to be installed. You're going to need to install all of your switches, all of your cover plates on all of your electrical. So that's everything behind the walls, and then your electrical on top of it. So we always go through order of construction. So demo, framing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all of those are considered your behind the wall sub trades. And then after that, with breaking that down, you're going to go into drywall. So drywall obviously is just drywall, but it gets tricky with the finish of the drywall. Do you want to match your existing drywall in your house? Do you want it to be imperfect smooth and update the drywall finish in there? So the texture is what needs to be pointed out in the scope of work of the drywall. And then after that, it's going to be paint. So paint, what color do you want on the walls? And this is the tricky one, what sheen? I usually recommend a semi-gloss in a bathroom because it's shiny and it's wipeable. And so it's going to bead water on the walls. If the kids do something to it, you can wipe it down. If you do a flat paint, you're just going to be fighting it and constantly touching it up. So I would definitely I recommend a semi-gloss in the bathroom. And so you want to point out the ceiling color, the wall colors. You want to accent color. What color is your trim going to be? Same thing with your baseboards and trim around the windows. What colors are those going to be? And again, I always suggest a semi-gloss on a baseboard or a trim, just again, so you can wipe it down easily if it gets scuffed, and it's just going to be a whole lot easier to clean. Semi-gloss is more expensive, but it's going to really help with the upkeep. And then after paint, it's going to be cabinets are going to get installed. So then write out your scope of work for the cabinets. How do you want your cabinets to look? What color do you want? What type of wood? What do you want on the inside? Do you want a cool plug inside of a drawer to be able to plug your hair dryer in? Do you want pull-outs, underneath the sink so you can easily get to all of your things? Do you want storage inside one of the cabinets for your hair dryer and your straightener? Just think about the cabinetry and start to look at the insides of cabinets is what gets expensive in any sort of cabinet situation, but it makes life a lot more functional. So you want the color of the cabinets, the interior functions of the cabinets, the type of wood, and the type of finish. So do you want it paint grade or stain grade? Do you want the cabinets to be able to be painted? So then if you do, you would go back to the paint scope of work and add the paint sheen in and the color in for the cabinets, because you can either get paint grade or stain grade. So you can either stain cabinets or paint them. And so you need to decide. Then after cabinets is going to be the type of the scope of work for your tile. And for tile, you're going to want these questions answered. What direction do you want your tile to go? Do you want it stacked like soldiers? Do you want a brick pattern? Do you want a herringbone pattern? What pattern do you want inside the niche, inside your shower? The patterns are important. So in a shower, you're going to have wall shower, niche tile. You're going to have floor tile inside the shower if you don't have a tub. And just remember, you can't generally put whatever wall tile on the floor because one, we need to be able to slope the drain. So it has to be like no bigger than a 2x2. Anything bigger than that is going to be really hard for the tile guy. So a penny tile, a rock, anything like that that can have movement and flow towards the drain so that water goes down correctly. So you can have wall tile, niche tile, shower floor tile, and then you're going to have bathroom floor tile. So that's 4 tiles you could possibly be picking out. So make sure you know the pattern of each of those and make sure you write down the grout of each of those and the trim. So when the shower tile comes out of the shower or it ends on the edge, we have to be able to trim it in something. You can't just leave it with grout. It looks awful and it doesn't look finished. So you need to pick out a trim that matches that. And they have all kinds of Schluter colors. They've got all kinds of bullnose and jolly. I hate bullnose, but do your thing. And then after the tile, you're going to do your paint touch-ups and your finishes. So you're going to want, and these are usually things you could probably do, but you're going to want to basically have all of your hardware purchased, picked out, and there for whoever to install. You're going to want your mirrors there and tell them where you want them hung, and your toilet paper holder and your towel bars and where you want those hung. So you're going to type up a scope of work for all of those people. Demo, framing, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, drywall, paint, cabinets, and tile, and then your accessories if you can't do that yourself. So this is part 1 of how to manage your own bathroom remodel. And then we'll go into part 2 on what to do with those typed up scope of work, your floor plan, and your design, and what the next step is. See you in the next one. Thanks for joining me today on the She Builds Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Builds swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.